Guess what today is? This is about the last week of April, and we are going to be doing a little grub and pest control. Now, this is going to be a two-part video. I'm not going to name it part 1 or part 2, but it's going to be 2 parts. I'm going to do one for the lawn, as well as one for the home. The home's a little bit easier. That one's just a whole lot of spraying, and yeah, that's about it. The lawn, though, is a little bit more intense, but if you do both, you could pretty much protect yourself pretty thoroughly. I mean, nothing's ever a guarantee, but look at this. Garage dog doesn't really like to walk on grass because I planted it, and she knew not to because when I planted it, she knows we're talking about her. But anyway, she doesn't really like to walk on it because I told her not to when it was seed, so now she walks on the little railroad ties I have for the plants. I think it's funny. She even walks on these steps. It's priceless. Anyway, back to the story. So we're going to be doing primarily a grub and other pest control in the lawn. There really isn't too much in the ways of pests that you have to worry about on lawns. I mean, there are, don't get me wrong, but the primary one I'm going to worry about right now is grubs. And this is the reason why. We are in late April. We are going to be putting down something that's generally will kill them, but it's not going to be the primary reason we're putting it down. We're putting down this so we can protect for the next 3 months against future generations of grubs. Now, if you look at the timing of this, right now, if you do have grubs, they're going to be in your lawn. They would have been fed already. They're big. They're probably turning into beetles or whatever they turn into, whatever your particular problem is. And at that point, let's say they do. Those beetles like to, as you can tell, like to eat roses. I have a lot of roses, so this is a problem. In addition to that, when they grow up, they don't like to run around. They might go to your neighbor's yard, they might go to the back over there, but they don't really like to move in great distances. So if throughout the summer you're seeing a whole lot of weird beetles, maybe some moths, or just a whole lot of weird pest control issues anyway, you're just going to want to put this down right now because it's going to be a real help. You're not going to have those problems. You're going to save your lawn. That's what happens. So if you don't irrigate, or even if you do irrigate, usually the end of July, August, let's say you get a late rainstorm, your grass turns a little greener, but you notice spots are brown. Or if you've been irrigating and you just notice one area is getting thinner and thinner and thinner and thinner, and eventually it gets brown, and you're starting to wonder why. That is probably grub problems. Go out there, pull on it, and I guarantee you, if you dig down, or you may not even have to dig if they're that bad, if you just pull on it, you will eventually probably see grubs. At this point, you're too late. You should not be doing what we're doing today, but I'll give you an alternative for that one. That's in late summer. But if you do this right now, you're not going to have that problem because you're going to be putting down a preventative against that exact problem. So what are we putting down? That's the main point of this. I am going to be putting down Duocide. Now let me explain why. Remember how I said there's preventative, and there's also one that will be for like later in the year? Well, this kind of has both. I didn't really go too much in later in the year. We'll go in that more in depth later. But if you look at the bag on this, we have as an active ingredient, hopefully you can read that, Byrefin, and Carbaryl. If you were to research those, which I have, that is an excellent preventative. The Byrefin, however you say it, and then the other one actually kills. Now the killing part of it's going to be mainly for like ants, stuff like that. That's why I like doing this all together with other types of sprays for your home, because you're killing a lot of the pests in your lawn. Um, that is pretty decent for grubs as well. So the ones that are in your lawn will probably be dying. The carbrel, or however you pronounce that one as well. If you ever gone to the store, you've seen something called 7. It's very, very similar to that. In fact, I do believe that they have that in it, or they at least used to. So we are going to be putting that down. That's going to give us 3 months of protection. So we're in late April. So, I mean, technically this weekend is the 1st, and it's Wednesday. Hey, hot air balloon, if you can see that. And so let's just count this. May, June, July. Remember how I said at the end of July, August is when you're going to be seeing the damage? Well, this isn't going to take effect immediately. It's going to take a little bit of time. So we're going to be pretty much at the end of July, the middle part of August for the protection. That's key. That's ideal. You're not going to have to worry about it. You don't have to put down a second application. You don't have to worry about future generations, at least not heavily. And it's just going to be a general good preventative. And in addition to that, I am using the DG, and that's only because of one, I like the idea that I'm putting out a corrective and an insecticide to kill other pests in there, so that's why it's called duocide. It has more than one type of control. But as you can tell, Garage Dog over there, she's a chewing type of dog. Nothing inside, luckily, but outside she definitely likes to explore. I don't want there to be particles that where she can get into it. Others, they're good, don't get me wrong, but they're not necessarily, they don't dissolve as quickly as I would like. Bear does make a very good product. They will do both preventives and a corrective. Something you will see when you do a corrective, I mean, there's a wide range of chemicals on there, and I'm sure it just varies where you live, but just look for stuff that says like 24 hours, kills bugs dead, kills grubs, something like that. If it says that there's any type of prevention or 3 months of coverage or anything like that, don't buy it. That's just not going to be what you're going to be needing for that type of problem, and you're just not going to be doing anything. You can put pounds and pounds and pounds and pounds of that on there. It's really not going to do too much. It will get a little bit of effectiveness, but not nearly as much as the actual insecticide for that reason. So next, what we're going to do, I'm going to be putting this out at about 4 pounds per 1,000. So like I said, there's 3,000 square feet here. So that means I'm going to be putting down 12 pounds. This bag, 18 pounds. So doing a little quick math, we're going to be doing about 2/3 of a bag. You can get a scale out. I probably won't. 2/3 is pretty easy to gauge. But what you do want to do is realize, look at the pellet size. We go to whatever spreader you're using. I have to clean this one up before I actually use it, obviously, but make your adjustments. Understand that it's better to do 2 passes instead of emptying out your entire spreader and you're only halfway done. That would not be good. You don't need to overdo it on this. You are putting a chemical, an insecticide of all things, too heavy on your lawn. Not a good idea. So whatever one you choose, we're going to be doing it. We're going to be applying it in the end of April, early May for the northern areas. Southern, when you might be doing it a little bit earlier. It just really depends on what control you're looking for. But in the northern areas, Oh, there, she's found a bird. The northern areas, end of April, beginning of May, it's going to take a few weeks to start to really take effect. Basically what happens is all the little particles we've been putting down going to seep into the soil. Then the plant will take that up, and the roots will also have it in there. What ends up happening is the grubs will chew and eat on those roots, and then they will die. So that's basically what we're trying to do here. We're just trying to basically just kill them off and make sure they don't come back. Like I said, they don't go very far. Just because you don't have a problem, though, doesn't mean your neighbors don't have a problem. So while I don't always recommend doing this every single year, I like to do it at least for a couple years solid, because if you were to miss a few years, especially if you don't irrigate, you can wake up to a fairly hefty problem. Let me explain. If you know your neighbors at all, you know, kind of ask them questions. I know for a fact, 2 houses down from me, their backyard was ravaged by moles. Excuse me, grubs. And that caused a pretty significant loss. Took a lot of work, had to replant a whole lot of grass. And every year since then, been putting this down. I'm almost to the point where I'm okay not to, but I still would rather have a preventative. We're doing it at a mild rate. The lowest rate on there is 2 pounds, and the highest rate is 8. I'm doing 4. It's not very high, it's also not very low, but I'm getting good coverage. So that's what I would recommend. Good coverage, don't have to worry about overdoing it. In addition to that, if you are getting this bag, you are going to have that additional protection from other pests. I primarily do it for ants. If you see, for instance, like over in the corner, I swear, every time. Anyway, if you're looking at that corner, you're going to see these little mounds just full of ants. I mean, it happens. It's not every year occurrence. Sometimes I get them in my front yard, and like by my driveway, or you know, they like to go inside your house. If you leave a speck of food on your counter, they will find it. So that's going to take care of a lot of the potential problems in the area. And if you do part 2, which I suggest you watch, you're going to want to spray your actual home for the whatever didn't get killed off in this process. Okay, so I have roughly 12 pounds in there. It's about a third of the bag left, maybe a little extra, but extra is still in the bag, of course. So we're going to be spraying this down, or spreading it down. Something I do like to mention, I don't know if I did on this one, the reason why I was talking about DG, you probably don't want to touch it actually, so a lot of those particles are very similar in size. They're very small. It's good coverage. If you were to take one of those particles and put into like a glass of water, usually by the time, depending on the length, the height of the glass, that particle is just going to be 1,000 little particles by the time it hits the bottom. It disperses very quickly in water. So I like it for that reason. Another reason why I like it is the fertilizer I use is also made by Anderson's. It's also the DG formula. The particle size are very, very similar. So I know the same spreader setting I have to have for my fertilizer, assuming playing at the same rate, of course, which on this one is roughly the same. It's going to come out about the same. So that's another reason why I kind of like it. I know what to expect, and I don't really have to worry too much about it. And yeah, in addition, I am going to be fertilizing, so if you're going to be doing this, you might as well be doing the other because technically, if you're following the fertilizer plan that I've mentioned in my spring wake-up videos, you should be doing another round of fertilizer at the end of April. So just to make it easy on yourself, I'm going to be doing that one. But that's going to be a separate video on how to fertilize. So what we're going to do is I'm going to spread it, and we'll continue on. Now, I don't know if you can see, but the marks in the grass, that's where I want the end of the particles to go. That's going to give you good even coverage. If you shoot the waft, or whatever you want to call the spread of it, to the wheel marks of your previous one, you're going to get good even coverage. I've already done a pass around the side, and I've done a good section of that over there. So this is going to be the last remaining one. Let's go ahead and do that. And there's a mole hole. Always a problem. Actually, this is a good time to discuss this. For a long time, I thought by doing this, you're going to be, you're not going to have to worry about moles. Now, as much as I'd love to say that's true, unfortunately not. That's kind of a myth. So, if you have moles, while this might be a small deterrent for them because there won't be as much food, it's still going to have plenty of food from other worms and other items in your grass or your lawn, excuse me. So if this is your primary way of getting rid of moles, I wouldn't do that. I have a mole video that works pretty decently. Follow that and you should be good. So I'm going to finish this off and we'll come back. And there we are. Everything's sprayed down. I pretty much had everything I needed, so still have roughly 6 pounds left. So that's good. I'm going to be trying my mole killing technique later today, so that's good. But other than that, that should be it. Just kind of go over everything again. You do not want to use a preventative to kill grubs. You will use a preventative to prevent grubs. You buy something that says kills in 1 to 3 days, contact, kills grubs dead, stuff like that. You do not use this to kill them today. This is good for 3 months. So if you are in July, probably not going to be a good idea to apply this. You're going to want to apply this towards the end of April, beginning of May, depending on where you live. If you are still pretty cool, then you could probably wait a little bit, so you shouldn't be too concerned if it's a little bit later than what I'm mentioning now. But even if you're a little bit later, and let's say you're like in North Carolina or Northern California or something, this preventative is still good for you. You're just a little bit later, but to be honest, any preventative is better than no preventative. Keep an eye out though towards the end of summer. If you do start seeing grub damage, stop it as soon as you see it. Don't just wait until the end of fall or the beginning of fall to put it down anything. If you see one spot, just blanket the whole area, because trust me, this is what's going to happen. Let's say, for instance, this spot was damaged from grubs. I fixed it. What happens to the next spot? Granted, it's white because of a chemical treatment I put on there, but imagine this is all good grass. Those grubs are no longer in that hole. Those grubs are all around the hole. And if you at all would just treat the area and didn't actually kill anything, they're moving, they're eating, they're just causing havoc. So blanket the whole area. You don't know where they are, blanket the whole area. So next I'm going to put down some fertilizer, watering it all in. Watering it in is a pretty key thing, is you want the plant to absorb it. That's another reason why I like the DG particles, because like I said, they water in very, very quickly. The other ones will take a little extra time. Kind of just monitor that. But you do want to water in. If it's going to be raining, that's even better. Now you shouldn't have any like harsh flood warnings or anything. That's not a good idea. But if you're going to have 3-4 days of medium to light rain, perfect, put it down. I'm going to have rain in about 2 days, but I want to put it down today. Just kind of water it in. That's fine. Other than that, it should be set. This will help adequately prevent grubs and other insect problems. So keeping, continue on, watch my second video for the home, because if you do your yard and your home, your pest control issues are going to be significantly decreased, or your issues for pests is going to be significantly decreased than if you did nothing. Okay, I'll see you in the next video. Have a good day. Definitely subscribe. If you have any questions, leave them in a comment below. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.